Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Friday, March 15th. We're going to take a look at Tell today. So Tell continuing to perform pretty well since we last checked in. So just a quick recap here. Push up above $1 to 105, and then a really steep sell-off all the way down to 35 cents. So an incredibly strong downtrend there. And then the bulls came firing back, picked it up at that level, went through some of the support and resistance levels that we had on the chart. Nice confirmation candle off of this 53-cent level that we had on the chart. We hit that one within 0.25 of a penny. So very, very close in to the range. And then it's, once again, sort of stair-stepping here, essentially, since that brief drawback. We were sort of curious in the last video if this was putting in a cup and handle at that moment and if it was about to take off. I was getting a little concerned that if it was, that potentially the handle was dipping a little far for my comfort level, but it has exploded out of there quite nicely and now pushing back up over $1 in recent days. It's a tough level for it to hold, so we'll see what happens. Obviously last time that's when the steep sell-off happened, so we'll see if there's any sort of stomach for that, or if folks are going to continue to buy in and push the stock higher. Now, I know we spoke about the cup and handle potential. There's another potential here that I was looking at as well, and a commenter on a previous video had also mentioned it, of an inverse head and shoulders, right? And sometimes these patterns don't look as perfect as they do when you just look them up on a stock trading article or something and they're explaining what it is, and they draw it out in this perfectly symmetrical pattern, right? Real life is always messier than sort of the representation of life. And so same thing goes with these stock formations. Sometimes it takes a little bit of, maybe not as messy as sort of picking a constellation out of the sky, and sometimes you look at those and you're like, how does that look like a lion? But something similar here, where it's a little bit like, okay, it's not going to be perfect, like somebody just sat there and drew it in, because this is real life, but does it sort of resemble something of that nature? To me, this could certainly represent an inverted head and shoulders. You see the inverted head there and the shoulders over here. So will it react that way? Time will tell. Looking back is something where you're sort of calling out a potential pattern. The hindsight is always 20/20, and anyone can sort of celebrate in the aftermath if they don't sort of put it out there ahead of time of, hey, this may be forming. But here's where we are. We'll see if that sort of takes shape or not. Certainly pretty happy with how the potential for having been a cup and handle here went. So we'll see if we can sort of go 2 for 2 on that front. Now, on the think or swim side of things, pretty interesting. So we have motion through the upper bound of the channel. This is that wild swing that we were just looking at. Motion all the way down out of the lower bound of the channel, came up back out of the upper bound of the channel, and then it came in, and this was the handle that we're talking about, came in, that handle tested the mid-range of the channel, and then just walked its way up, batted itself in between the mid-range of the channel and the upper bound of the channel. Still situated right there. Nice consistent motion. The drawdown on the histogram seemingly throwing some hiccup candles at the moment, so I don't know if that will persist or not. Because the stock is so volatile, it has a tendency to throw a lot of these hiccup candles in. But to me, the most interesting component is it's triggering now for 4 candles on the TTM squeeze indicator. So do we have a big move coming that's going to come off the back of this TTM squeeze indicator when it fires? And if so, which direction does it go? As we see here, brief fire in the TTM squeeze indicator, 2 candle trigger, and then a fire, and that set off this big move from, you could have caught it either way on the move, from about 59 cents all the way up to 105, right? And then the retracement and reaction to that was equally, if not more, impressive in terms of percentage change. So Really good call out for a full swing of a move there on the TTM squeeze indicator the last time, and that was at a very, very brief trigger. Doesn't necessarily equate longer trigger means bigger move, and sometimes trigger and fire means no move. But I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out and where this leads to, being that it is triggering at the moment and is situated sort of well within the limits of the channel, so it's not sort of overly extended in either direction at the moment. Now, typically this is where we'd end the video, but we don't have levels above this 96 right now, and while it's hard, it's been hard to hold that dollar level, I did want to put in some additional ones in case it does jump up there. So what I'm looking for is previous price action that acted as both support and resistance. And that's where I'm putting in my lines. Sometimes folks say, how are you picking these levels out? That's how. Scroll left, which is historical movements, and then look for where did things switch from support to resistance consistently. See all of this support, support, resistance, support, resistance, right? So pretty clear there. So that's where we'll leave it for now. We'll track it up to 130. So bottom line for me, if it does pull back, we have all of these levels. You can see them right there. If it climbs and can sustain over $1, that first level that I would expect it to be able to try to wrestle with at least, if not overtake, is 108. If it gets through there, 119 and 130. Now, there may develop some more granular, tight-in levels as more price action gets put in, but to me, these look like the most standout levels at the moment that may play the biggest factor over a period of time. So we'll see how this all sort of takes shape, but it's been a really interesting ride. I don't remember who first asked me to take a look at Tell, but thank you. This has been a cool one to keep track of and really a wild ride in both directions. If volatility is your thing, this has been a good stock for that in recent history. All right, folks, I hope that you've had a nice trading week and that you enjoy your weekend ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.